ADHD Rewired, episode 470. This is the podcast for those of us with really good intentions and a slightly wandering attention. I'm Eric Tivers. I'm a licensed clinical social worker by training and a coach by design. I'm your host, and I have ADHD. ADHD Rewired is more than just a podcast. We are a community. We are wired for connection, and you are not alone. Go to ADHDrewired.com to learn how you can join us in our free and secret Facebook group. Get additional resources for every episode, including links to any resources we mention on today's show. You can support us on Patreon, sign up for our email newsletter. You can request podcast postcards to distribute to your clients and support groups. Learn all about our award-winning coaching and accountability groups. You can co-work with us in our Adult Study Hall virtual membership community. You can do all of these things by going to our website at ADHDrewired.com. We know that starting is the hardest part, so let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of ADHD Rewired. This is part 2 of our mastermind session with Janelle and ADHD Rewired coaches Kat Hoyer and Kristin Marts. If you missed part 1, you may want to go back and listen to that first and then come back for the continuation. There is so much good stuff that you'll want to hear, including we asked ChatGPT for a little help in writing a process document. We'll share with you what we asked it and what the output of that was. All right, let's get back into it. This is part 2 of our mastermind session with Janelle. All right, and we are back. All right, so we have went over a lot of the stuff around processes. Now, the main thing that you came in with was keeping track of multi-step tasks and how do you not like lose steam, basically, so you don't have all these unfinished things.
Yeah.
Okay. So first thing, do you think that everything needs to be finished?
Yeah. I mean, in my head, yes.
Okay.
In real life, probably not.
Would you be able to prioritize what are the things that you really want to finish and what are the things that would be more like, would be nice if I finish?
That's the hard part. It's like I want to do everything, but I can't do everything. Yeah, I think there's a few things that I can deprioritize.
The idea of finishing the priority, the top priority, that you have to sort of earn the right to work on the next thing.
Yeah.
Does that resonate with you? I know for some people it doesn't, some people it does.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if you were to say, what's the top thing right now in your life that you want to get to done in order to earn the right to work on the next thing? And what would that next thing be?
I'm stuck. Because now I'm feeling like everything. I think here's part of that too, is that sometimes, like, because most of the tasks and projects I'm talking about aren't day-to-day things, that I prioritize those day-to-day things. And until I get those day-to-day things done, which they're never done, is when I can do those other projects that are important, but not as urgent as the day-to-day things. So that's where I'm getting stuck of, I need to, wash my son's clothes and make sure that's folded, make sure the family's fed, make sure I'm, processing payroll for this week, whatever. But I never get the chance to kind of get ahead.
So my question that I feel like might give you some more information around this is the idea around, I'm huge on the idea of defining things out in the open with whoever you're talking to so that everyone knows what a word means. So do you see a difference between process and project?
I don't identify it as such, but could be a place to explore. Like, that's not something off the top of my head that I say, yes, I do.
So like when I read through the mastermind, I immediately said, project, process, and then when I thought of done, I think of done with a system as when it's all lined up and in place to go on that conveyor belt. It has to be. And a project is something that has a finite ending, putting together a bookshelf,
right?
Planting the tulips, but watering the garden is going to be a process. And so, I was just wondering how you view that.
I That's a good point, that I need to identify when things are a process. I treat everything like a project, and some things are just a process that it's just what's the next step instead
Yeah.
of what's the done step.
Yeah.
And I wonder, reflecting back on what you've done with your food prep and that process, even reflecting on how do I feel at certain points, like when you started over again, and what did you say to yourself when it didn't go right and you needed, like when you went on a Monday and said, oh no, I think Friday morning is going to be better. Like, what was the story that you were telling yourself during that time? Was it like, I got this whole thing wrong, why am I even doing this? Or was it like, oh, that didn't go right, let's see what will happen if I go on this day?
Mhm.
And borrowing from that success to lend yourself that dialogue that helped you get there.
I beat myself up about my business all the time. Everything else, not everything else. There's some things where I'm just like, yeah, this just didn't work out. Like, going on a Monday, like, yeah, this is terrible. I don't know why I did this. Other things, I'm like, you messed that up. How could you have messed that up? You
So
know,
how you've done how many of these businesses? Like you've done like a ton of these businesses, right? Over and over again.
business? Nope. What?
Oh no, this is the first one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so how do you know what you're doing if this is the first time? Hello.
What does Brene Brown say? First fucking time, FFTs,
Yeah.
right? There's winning and there's learning. And when you're an entrepreneur, when you're creating something that hasn't been created before, we get to learn. Like no one's firing us. We get to make those mistakes and learn from them, right? And I think those who can really embrace and lean into the learning, because that can be uncomfortable sometimes,
Yeah.
are the ones who become successful, right? It's the ones who well, this was a meltdown. See what I did there? And if they walk away from it, then it's like, oh, like you missed an opportunity to actually learn from what you're doing.
That's true. I do have a problem with the learning aspect of things. Like having customers that look at me is new. Like, you know what I mean? Like people who look to me and can say things to me about things that I do is new. And so, yeah, I do feel like I always take a lot of personal responsibility.
What do you tell your child about making mistakes?
It's okay.
What do
It's
you
okay,
hope that
everybody.
what do you hope that you're imparting on him as he's growing up about
Yeah,
mistakes?
I want him to not be like me, and that's like a lot of the times when I teach him about like things like that, I always say, what would I want myself to do? Really, the things that I don't do. It doesn't ever go past that to me. It just goes to him. It doesn't come back to me ever. But yeah, I teach him like, hey, it's a mistake. We learn. We can try it again. And
How are you going to model that for him?
doing it again?
Because, our kid, like we could tell
Yeah.
our kids stuff until we're blue in the face.
Blue
They
in
are
the
going to do what they see us doing.
Yeah. To be kinder to myself.
Can you run that movie in your head of you're imagining your son seeing you making a mistake and how you manage it?
That's a great prompt. That's a good one. Yeah.
You did say that the idea of you have to earn the right to work on the next thing
Mhm.
resonating with you.
Yeah.
There's a couple of different ways to think about done as well. So there's done as the whole project, which is like you can't put everything else in life on hold until you finish this huge project. I mean, it's a big project, right?
Yeah.
Like you were trying to document a business. Like that's not for the faint of heart. I mean, and to give you some perspective, when I decided to do a whole revamp of the coaching curriculum and all the slides, I was like, 10 weeks, we're going to have this thing done. That was 52 weeks ago, I think. And we're at like 90%. Like I'm looking to bring in professional help now for the last 10% because that last 10% is hard. And sometimes we need outside perspective, right? So going to the smaller level and part of how we are able to make the progress that we did make and that we have made is, all right, so before I work on this other thing that I kind of want to do, I got to work on this thing for an hour today. And so working on this thing for an hour today, I have to do that before I get to earn the right to work on something else. Can you break it down for yourself that way?
Yes. I do struggle to pull myself away. I struggle with that. I struggle with I've got it, I should keep going. But this is exactly why, is that I struggle with I'm getting going. Why stop? Because I can just get it done.
Instead of trail of crumbs, drips of ice cream. Okay. What are your drips of ice cream that will help you come back to where you left off?
Yeah.
It also the idea of you're reflecting on what that moment's like when you say, oh, it's time for me to stop, but I'm in the flow. I need to keep going. I need to keep going. And you said, why should I stop? Answer that question.
Oh, that's a good one.
That was a good one, Kristin. That was
It
good.
was very good.
Thank you.
I'm wondering if when you're working on this too, if environment could make a difference. Cause I know, like I used to have a separate office in a separate space and now I'm at home and, kind of being, it can be tough to separate from, I need to work on this project when everything is right here and I can see it all. But there are times where I may need to go. I have a favorite restaurant that I go to because they have a special on Wednesdays that I can get a wedge salad and a glass of wine and it's $10 and I know where the booth is with the plug-in and I go or I like Eric's thing too of not taking your power cord.
What?
And then because then you have to work, there's a sense of urgency. How much can you get done in that time? But, that's what I'm saying is environmentally, is there something you could do that would help you with that process?
I have never thought of that. That is what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave the house and leave the cord because that will get me to do stuff.
And apparently, if you have a laptop, so I only just recently learned this. So I always plug in my laptop, which apparently is not good for your battery. So my MacBook, which is maybe 2 years old, like the battery already needs to be replaced because I always keep it plugged in. So for me right now, that would give me about 25 minutes of work. So just as a little lesson learned, don't always keep your laptop plugged in. Okay, couple tool ideas I'd like to share just to see what you think of these. So I've been kind of obsessed recently with ChatGPT. It has become my new favorite writing partner. So have you tried using ChatGPT yet?
No.
Do you know what this is?
Yes.
Okay, so it is a game changer. It is like, I think this is going to be the most disruptive piece of technology for the next decade. I really do. Like, maybe I'm wrong, but like, I know right now Google's scared shitless.
Really?
Like, So if you take your rough version of what you wrote out for a process and then you put it into ChatGPT and you say, write me a user's manual for employees about this. And whatever, like what I love is that because I know I have this like brilliant AI editor, I don't have to edit. It doesn't even have to sound good. I'm just like literally dumping my ideas out, plug it into this thing and I'm like, oh, that's so much more clear now. And now I'm just going to make these little tweaks so it's in the tone that I want it to be. Like, so it's sort of this back and forth. It really feels like a partnership. And it is just like, for someone who like overthinks the words that I use when I'm writing, it is like, I'm ready to pay for it because it's amazing. It's free right now, but I'm sure we will pay for it at some point.
Yeah.
I'm curious if that would help you with the idea of how you hate reading your own voice.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sure. I got to go check that out.
Okay.
I keep hearing so many good things about it.
All right. We're going to jump in right here for a quick break, but don't go far. We'll be right back. Support for ADHD Rewired comes from ARC. ARC is ADHD Rewired Coaching. Learn more about our intensive online coaching and accountability groups and how you can join us for our next spring registration event this week on Thursday, February 23rd at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern by going to coachingrewired.com and adding your name to our interest list. This week is the final week where you'll be able to take advantage of our anti-procrastination promotion to get $500 off the cost of coaching when you select sections with ADHD Rewired coaches Kat Hoyer and Kristin Marts. The deadline to submit all pre-registration submissions is 11:59 p.m. the day before our registration events, so don't wait. That's coachingrewired.com to get started. Our coaching community provides a space where you can learn different skills for ADHD management, openly share our struggles without fear or judgment, and continue practicing those skills with the encouragement of others who are more similar to us than we thought. So if you're just on the edge of your decision to join our coaching groups, I'd like to encourage you to listen to episode 400, where more of our alumni members share their experiences, their success stories, and the valuable lessons they learned during their seasons of coaching groups. It is so heartwarming to hear others discover their self-worth, to see others owning their skills, lift each other up, and really find out what they're made of. Go to coachingrewired.com to start your pre-registration process so you can join us this week on Thursday, February 23rd at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. And again, this is the last time for the spring sessions. You can get $500 off when you join sections with coaches Kristin Marts or Kat Hoyer. And if you are listening to this after that date, go to coachingrewired.com to get the most up-to-date information. Come learn with us. Come grow with us. Growth happens here at coachingrewired.com. That's coachingrewired.com. Can't get enough of ADHD-related content? The ADHD Rewired Podcast Network has you covered. Go to ADHDrewired.com/podcast network, where you can check out all of our other shows. And if that's still not enough for you and you want to pick our brains, then we invite you to join us every second Tuesday of the month on Zoom, where we host a live Q&A to answer your ADHD-related questions. And next month, we will hopefully be joined by a special guest that I will tell you about next week. I'm just waiting for confirmation from this person, but it will be someone that you might know them. All right, so go to ADHDrewired.com/events to register to join us every second Tuesday of the month. Join me, Brendan Mahan from ADHD Essentials, Will Curb from Hacking Your ADHD, MJ Siemens from the ADHD Diversified podcast, and our amazing ADHD Rewired coaches, Kat Hoyer and Kristin Marts, to get tips and tricks to your ADHD-related questions. And if you love what you're hearing on the show, then don't forget to subscribe to this podcast in your favorite podcast player, or go to ADHDrewired.com/podcast, where you can also find our show notes and links to all the resources that we mention in each episode. If this podcast has made you feel more seen and understood, and you're subscribed, but you haven't yet had a chance to leave us a rating and review, we would really appreciate it if you could. Your reviews help us get in front of more ears who just might need to hear our stories so that they can feel less alone too. Find everything ADHD Rewired by going to ADHDrewired.com. And if you like this episode, share it with someone you know. That's ADHDrewired.com. Thanks for listening. Another tool that I used for a little while, many years ago, called Process Street, which the website for it is process.st. And it's a website designed to create processes.
Process dot what?
Process.st.
I'm not going to lie. You said that and it sounded like prostate.
There's so many bad jokes that just went through my mind. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. I gotta catch my breath. All right. Another is, do you have a GoPro?
I don't know if it works, but we have one.
Okay, so my thoughts are that a GoPro would be the easiest way to do this, but if you literally go through your work day, like at the shop, and you put on the GoPro and you just narrate everything you are doing, and then you go on to something like Fiverr and you upload these videos. It says, I need process documentation for employees using these videos and what I'm saying about these videos.
I like that.
Again, I'm hearing too that once you get their first draft back to you, you're not having to read your own voice again.
Right. I would rather read somebody else's.
Because you said that with such disdain. You were like, I don't want to hear my own.
Oh, and with both ChatGPT and there's another one that I actually been using for about 6 months called Jasper. I always think, is it Casper or Jasper? Casper's the bed company. Jasper it's an AI marketing tool, and so you can do things like tell it like the emotional tone that you want it to use, or like you can even like name like famous people and say put it in the have it written like this person, right? Like so you can kind of get this real nuanced but rich sort of tone in what you're trying to do. And I also know that like I haven't experimented with the AI art tools yet, but those are also supposed to be pretty phenomenal. So there are the growing number of AI tools that are available, along with the things that we can upload and outsource, like just based on recording video. Like, I mean, I think it's, and to start it, maybe just do the opening of the store, and maybe even have get 3 different people to do it. Pick one you like best, and all right, I like this one. Hey, could you do this one too? And then so you're you're doing a little bit of trial and error with some people, right? And then you can identify who do you seem to work with the best.
May I offer another suggestion around this too? Because there is so much emotional investment in your business, what would it be like for you to just play with the ChatGPT over your gardening process, or doing a successful process you already have, like your meal planning, so that doesn't maybe get in the way to be seeing what is this tool I can use and how will I feel about it without it being how am I feeling about my business
I see. Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah.
I try to encourage people to work on things when they're practicing a new tool or process on something that doesn't bring about a lot of negativity for them, so that they're actually assessing that practice.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm in ChatGPT right now, and I am write me a process document for opening my ice cream store that I can use for employees. Make it clear and fun. Welcome to Scoop Dreams Ice Cream Store. As a proud new owner of an ice cream store, you want to make sure everything runs smoothly and customers have the best experience possible. That's why we put together the step-by-step guide to help you open your doors and start dishing out scoops of happiness. Here's the scoop. 1. Get the scoop on supplies. Before you open your doors, make sure you have all the supplies you need to run your store.
Isn't it?
You'll need ice cream scoops, cones, toppings, napkins, and all the other essentials. Don't forget to stock up on enough supplies to last you through the first few weeks of business. 2. Hire the dream team. Employees are the lifeblood of your store, and you want to make sure that you have the best team in place. Look for people who are friendly, outgoing, and love ice cream as much as you do. Make sure to train your employees on everything from scooping the perfect cone to working the cash register. 3. Make your store a sweet treat. Set up your store in a way that makes customers feel comfortable and welcome. Hang some fun decorations, play some sweet tunes, and make sure the lighting is just right. You want your store to be a place where people can come to relax and enjoy a delicious treat. 4. Get the word out. Let everyone know that your store is open for business. Place ads in local newspapers. It keeps going.
I wish you got to see the faces of everybody. This is crazy.
And it thought of things that I wouldn't, and I don't run an ice cream store, but it thought of things that I just heard that I don't know that I would think of as putting into the processes, like make sure you have enough supplies for the day, and put up decorations. I mean, beautiful. It's amazing.
That is insane. And that was just off of one sentence with barely any details.
And what's so cool about it is you can, so let's say I revise the previous response as, emphasizing what employees need to do to open the store.
What if you use the employee tasks? Would that give it more?
Maybe. Yeah, and the more specific
I've started playing with it now, so now I'm excited.
Break the tasks down, including how long each task will take.
Oh my goodness. Oh, please. I'm going to do it for laundry. I'm going to do it for everything.
What?
Okay, let's see.
Okay, while it's generating, can I give her a little idea? Or tool, I should say. Janelle, I love acronyms, and I find them for all kinds of things. And for me, I loved the question that you asked on your mastermind, which was, what are some prompts I can ask myself in the moment to encourage me to return, to continue or complete the task when I'm doing the finish up stage? And I don't do this every time because I don't need to. It's a little time consuming, but when it's a project or a process and I'm not done, I will use the acronym AMEN. And A is action. What action am I going to take? M is meaning. So why do I want to do it? E is estimated time. How long do I think it's going to take? And then what is the next step? So it helps me sometimes to get things started when I don't quite know where I'm feeling like, oh, I don't even know where to start. I'll use it for that. I will also use it for ending a project. So kind of my breadcrumbs.
That's
So I just wanted to
brilliant.
give you that little tool.
I like that. I like that. I do have trouble with the knowing to transition part. So like I like having that. Maybe I can put that as a sticky note somewhere to remind me that as I'm wrapping up to put those down. I like that. Thank you.
And I have to give myself, like, if I'm going to work for 2 hours, there's a 10-minute wrap up, and I actually have a form that I use and all that kind of stuff, just so that I can stop, because otherwise I will go into hyper focus and then I'll be drained for everything else.
May I offer a quick tag to this because of knowing Janelle and what something she has offered me that has helped me? Janelle says, give yourself grace. She says, Kristin, give yourself some grace. And when I think of amen, I think of this, and I think of gratitude, particularly with you.
And for the listener, she's putting her hands together in that praying position.
And Janelle is all about giving people grace. And I wonder how often you forget to give yourself grace. So if you use that acronym and think of this, just wondering if that would help stick a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for that. That was my word of the year last year.
Oh, how did that go?
Great.
We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we will continue with the Mastermind with Janelle and the ADHD reWired coaches, Kat Hoyer and Kristin Marts. Support for this podcast comes from Adult Study Hall at adultstudyhall.com. Adult Study Hall is the ADHD-friendly, body-doubling co-working community for adults with ADHD, just like you and me. It's free for the first week to try and only $19.99 a month after that. When you sign up for Adult Study Hall, your membership will include access to our 24/7 drop-in room. You'll also get access to our weekly guided sessions that we call Adult Study Hall Plus or ASH Plus. So if you are looking for a productive and supportive community of like-wired brains to help you tackle your daily tasks and projects, look no further than adultstudyhall.com. Whether you need real-time accountability in our 24/7 drop-in room or guided and facilitated sessions with more structure to jumpstart the next thing on your to-do list, we'd love for you to join us. It really is a place where adults with ADHD can get together and help each other stay focused and motivated, and where we all belong. What are you waiting for? Join us at adultstudyhall.com and start doubling down on your tasks and projects today. Try it free for the first week, and it's only $19.99 a month after that. Jump in and join us and see how much more you can accomplish with others who just get it. And come work with us. That's adultstudyhall.com. Support for ADHD Rewired comes from our patrons over at ADHDrewired.com/Patreon. Perks for becoming a patron include getting ad-free episodes of this show for just $5 a month. Once you get signed up, you can get those ad-free episodes in a private podcast feed in your favorite podcast player. And I just recorded a 1.5-minute video showing you how to do that. It is on our Patreon page. If you're looking for a taste of group coaching, then consider becoming a patron at the $25 a month level, and join me every 4th Tuesday of the month for our monthly coaching call on Zoom. That's every 4th Tuesday of the month at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. But if that's not in the budget right now for you, or you know you're unable to join us every month, but you still want to hear the tips and tricks we'll be sharing, become a patron at the $10 a month level, and that will give you access not only to our ad-free episodes, but it will also give you access to the audio recordings of our monthly coaching calls. That's also included in that same patron-only podcast feed. I really am so thankful for all of our patrons. No matter your contribution, I am really grateful for all of your support. If you're not a patron yet, but you want to join the Patreon community and get some extra perks, and if you're in a position to do so, you can support this show going over now to ADHDrewired.com/Patreon and join us. Perks start at just $5 a month, but you can share any amount that makes sense to you. That's ADHDrewired.com/Patreon. And thank you so much. So something that I've kind of been realizing about words of the year, you can continue them into the next year.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's going to be something where you need to work on for a couple of years, and that is okay. Are there any other questions for us? Anything that you have maybe are unanswered, or anything that has kind of come up for you as we've been doing this?
Well, what did the ChatGPT thing say?
Well, I'm currently questioning its time predictions.
Oh, okay.
Because it
Okay.
gave you 1 hour to hire the dream team.
Oh,
Ah,
okay.
Right.
As someone who has hired a lot of people, no.
But yet it creates a template of
Yes.
this
Yep,
thing, and it's got
absolutely.
it in there. You can go in
Yep.
and edit that piece.
Yep, absolutely.
And I love how on the keep it clean part, it says ongoing. So that's like, so it gives you, it's giving you these frameworks to think about things that, I mean, it's so cool that a lot of the emails that I've written over the last couple of weeks, like I've used ChatGPT literally as a partner, and I can't think of it any other way than a partner. To me, it's like, it is not cheating, right? Like, because it's not what, like, I'm not sending out what ChatGPT churns out, right? It is a back and forth tweaking process until I get my tone that I'm looking for, but it has helped me just so profoundly.
I'm not understanding why everyone is starting to say it's the cheating piece, because how many years in history have we had executive assistants and secretaries who write letters for us, and and I'm talking about way back. It's just another format that it's being delivered in.
I think it's like so wow that it's like, is this okay?
yeah, it's a little bit, it sounds too good to be true. This is not good, you know, but it'll grow on us. It was like the internet, then again.
The World Wide Web. But have you ever read the book E-Myth?
I have
Janelle.
it.
Okay.
I have the book.
Read it. Like this, it's
Okay.
all about the setting up processes.
The E-Myth.
Yes. And E is not for like electronic, which is totally what I thought it was when I first heard the title. It's for entrepreneur.
Yes. I think I've gotten to like, I need to breadcrumb and go back to that book and finish reading it. Cause I'll read like the first 2 chapters and then like forget or feel like there's something else more urgent to do.
What about audiobooks? Do you like audiobooks?
I do like audiobooks. And you know what? I need to give myself some grace because I refuse to like get the audiobook because I have the physical book, but I can also like go to the library and do that. So I need to give myself some grace.
What's your first step for getting back to that book? You just said you wanted to breadcrumb it and go back to it. What's your first action step for this?
Hey Siri, remind me at 10 a.m. tomorrow to get a library card for audiobook for E-Myth.
Yes.
She didn't get that, but I got it enough. The name.
Is it gonna be like those notes that I look at that I write and I'm like, what the hell did I mean by this?
Yes, she put like E-Myth as the name of the book, but it says audiobook, so that's why I need it.
Do any of you ever like when you're like voice texting to your friends and like it did not capture it correctly, but what it captured is fucking hilarious, so you send it anyways? It's one of my favorite things to do.
I'm leaving it. Yep.
All right. Any other questions or ideas that we can maybe leave you with? Kristin, any final thoughts for you?
I was noticing Kat's chat there with her suggestion about the time-lapse videos and that idea of how that would incorporate fun with you. That could be something, you know, I don't know if Kat, just explain the process because it seems like it'd be something fun to watch with your kiddo also.
Yeah. I mean, I use time-lapse videos a lot for any like cleaning and that kind of stuff, because I know that if I set up the video, set up my tripod and clean for 30 minutes, I have a 2-minute time lapse. And I can stop and watch it, and I love to just see like the progress and sometimes see my animals do funny things that I didn't know they were doing while I was there. But I'm just wondering, like, especially with gardening, because again, it's an ongoing process. Like, what would it be like to go in and do the time lapse and then use it again, coming back for it and kind of seeing how things have changed as you're doing it, but having a visual reminder of the progress.
I've actually, my question is for myself is how to remember to do that, because I think I've had that thought, that suggestion before, is to kind of like just record myself just to feel the progress.
So in answering Eric's question to me, we'll lean into this is, you know, we learned about POPs, point of performance reminders. And I don't know if they resonate with you. That would be my curiosity, and maybe sort of leaning into those a little more for this idea that you're just talking about is how can I remember?
Yeah, That's exactly what I was thinking about. I do like the pops. Popping pops.
And the way I remember is my tripod is somewhere where I'm always tripping over it. So, that's a point of performance.
That it is.
Okay. So Janelle, we've talked about a lot of stuff and we went in pretty deep. What actions and commitments do you feel right now that you're like, I want to take these actions? What commitments do you want to make?
First, I want to explore ChatGPT. I want to explore ChatGPT. I want to go find that Asana tutorial. And I think importantly, I do a brain dump and identify process versus project. Um, Process versus project. And I was going to say, but what is done? But that is the point of identifying the process versus project, is if it's something that it's done, but not. So, yeah, you asked me if I had any questions earlier, and I did, but then lost it. But yeah, thank you guys. This is very helpful. And what's funny is that when you first asked me about this, like my first thought was to kind of like do my business. I was like, no, I don't really want to focus on that. I feel like I talk about that a lot. And look, we spent this like half of the time here talking about it. So it just really shows me that's exactly what I needed, and I hope that what it shows to everybody is that it's never just one layer. Like it's always so many things. Like we talked about not ironing out the process beforehand, but transferring of energy, transitions, like all of that. And it's so many layers. So, and I feel like there's so much more that we could have sat here and talked about too.
And I want to check in on how you're feeling emotionally, because this has been, we've been at this for a little while. How are you? How is your energy? What's your emotional level like? Do you need any type of kind of recovery, self-care around this, or where are you at with that?
Honestly, I'm feeling like I can do it. Like this, I'm feeling like, yay, like I'm going to go do the thing. And then I have to check myself and be like, nope, let's one step at a time, because I could probably try and plan it over this weekend and come back with Monday with a 10-step plan about what I will do and only get 2 steps of it done.
Which leads me to my final question. The bridge between good intentions and action is accountability. How will you leverage accountability to get to done?
I will engage my A team. We have been riding since ARC last year, and they are incredible, incredible support. I love them so much. Shout out to the Flustered Phoenix. That is her name. But also accountability in my house with, my husband, and I have some amazing, amazing friends who support me. And we have all built a relationship on calling each other out all the time.
That's awesome. Janelle, thank you so much. This was so much fun. Kat and Kristin, I just could not have had more fun. I'm so glad I got to do this with you. And
Thank you.
And I hope this was helpful for listeners as well.
Yeah,
this was great. So much fun. And
thank you. Yes.
To help out my friend Janelle. I love it.
This is Eric Tivers. Thank you for listening, and congratulations for making it to the end. ADHD reWired is more than just a podcast. We are a community focused on learning, growing, and connection. The website is ADHDrewired.com. You can find time-stamped summaries and additional resources for each episode. Apply to join our free and secret Facebook community. Learn more about our award-winning intensive online video-based coaching and accountability groups. Join the Adult Study Hall virtual co-working membership community. Find all the other podcasts on the ADHD reWired podcast network. Sign up for my email newsletter to get exclusive content that you won't hear anywhere else. And use the search tool to find episodes on specific topics. You can do all of this at ADHDrewired.com. While you're there, click on the Patreon button. If you are a regular listener, consider making a monthly contribution by becoming a patron. If you are able to financially support my work, it would mean a lot. This show is free to you, the listener, but it's not free to produce. Plus, patrons get cool perks like ad-free episodes and access to recordings of coaching calls, and $25 a month patrons can join me once a month for a group coaching call. You can follow me on Twitter at Eric Tivers. You can like our Facebook page at facebook.com/ADHD rewired. If you're a coach, therapist, or related professional, connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/Eric Tivers. Subscribe to ADHD Rewired on YouTube to see selective interviews and other videos I've made. Podcasts change lives. You can make a difference in someone's life by spreading the word about this podcast. Mention it in your online communities on Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, or wherever you hang out online. And be sure to share it with your friends, family, your therapists, your coaches, doctors, siblings, parents. And if you, your coach, therapist, doctor, or ADHD support group leader would like a pack of podcast postcards to hand out, you can request those at the website, ADHDrewired.com. If you are a member of CHAD, ADA, or any other ADHD support group, please be sure to tell them about this show and all the shows on the ADHD Rewired Podcast Network. You can even show them how to download it on their phone. And if you really loved this particular episode, please hit share on your podcast player. I'm only one person, and I do count on you to help spread this message. One of the biggest things that you can do to support this podcast and help other people discover it is to leave an honest rating and review on Apple Podcasts or any other app that supports reviews. And don't forget to hit subscribe so new episodes are automatically pushed to your favorite podcast app. Looking for more ways to listen and learn? Get a free audiobook and a 30-day free trial at Audible by going to audibletrial.com/ADHD rewired. Here is my list of must-listen-to audiobooks updated July 2021. Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg. Attached by Amir Levin and Rachel Heller. Atomic Habits by James Clear. The 5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. Crucial Conversations by Carrie Patterson. The Coaching Habit by Michael Stainer. The Body Keeps Score by Bessel van der Kolk. Rest by Alex Sujong Kim Pang. The 5-Second Rule by Mel Robbins. Make It Stick. The Science of Successful Learning by Peter Brown. The Productivity Project by Chris Bailey. Meditation for Fidgety Skeptics by Dan Harris. Change Your Questions, Change Your Life by Marilee G. Adams. I always recommend to my coaches and admin that they read that book. The One Thing by Gary Keller, a required reading for all of our coaching group members. Procrastinate on Purpose by Rory Baden. The 4 Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin. The Art of Asking by Amanda Palmer. And if you're looking for something a little bit more magical, I have fallen in love with the Harry Potter series, and the narrator, Jim Dale, is amazing. And of course, if you haven't yet boarded the Brene Brown bus, all of her stuff is great, starting with Gifts of Imperfection, Daring Greatly, Rising Strong, and The Power of Vulnerability. And if you're an entrepreneur or leader, be sure to check out her book, Dare to Lead. Do you have something that you would like to share? Click on the podcast tab at ADHD Rewired. Click the button to be a guest at the top of the page and schedule a 15-minute interview. This is Eric Tivers, reminding you to keep learning, growing, and connecting. Self-care is not selfish. No matter what you get done or don't get done, you are still enough. And no matter how hard it feels, we can do hard things. And we don't need to do them in the hardest way possible. Thanks for listening. I'll catch you next week.